Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, we're going to go over a Git command that will help us better visualize where we are in the Git workflow process. So, you know how when we make changes, we got to move those changes from the working directory over to the staging area to then create a commit out of those changes. So sometimes it's hard to know exactly where you are in that process, right? Because we're using, this git bash window, which is really just text, right? There aren't any pictures or anything like that. But luckily, with this git status command, it'll help us better understand where we are in that process, all right? And then also at the end of this video, I'm going to go over a couple of tips and tricks on how to use Git and save yourself some time. All right, so let's get started. Right now, I'm going to create a folder, and I'll call it My Project. All right, it's an empty folder, and in here, I will open a new Git Bash window. Now, if I type in Git status, what's going to happen? It's going to complain. Why is it complaining? Because we haven't created, we haven't established a Git repository in here. Now, if you've seen my other video, you'll know that if you're starting a project from scratch, you need to first initialize Git. So we do git init, and that'll generate this .git folder here. Again, if you're new to git init, look at my other video on that. I go into more detail. So now, if we do git status, you'll see that it says on branch master. Okay, and we'll go over branches in one of the later videos. It says no commits yet. All right, so we'll change that in a second. And it says nothing to commit. All right, means that this whole thing's completely clean. There's nothing here. Well, let's change that. Let's go ahead and add a text file, and we'll call it my code. And this could be a Java file or a Python file, or it could even be a picture file. It could be any file, okay? And this is just to show that Git will keep track of changes on basically any file, okay? And now you're probably asking yourself, wait a minute, why would I even want to keep track of a picture file, right? And why are you including, why would we include a picture file in our project? Well, if you're doing mobile development, right, it might be a picture for your icon, your app icon, or if you're creating a game, it might be a sprite, like the picture for your character or something like that. So all sorts of different files that Git can keep track of. All right. Okay, so now if we do git status again, right, we'll see that now, now we see the same thing on here. We see it's on branch master. All right, cool. No commits yet, no problem. But here, this has changed. This says untracked files. So this means that we've made a change within this Git repository. And that change was adding these two files, mycode.txt and mypicture.bmp. Okay? So when you see the text in red, that means the change is fresh. It's in what's called the working directory. Okay? All right. Now, there's a little command called git add, which we'll go over in another video. Okay? But just know that what this does is it moves that change, or basically, the file change over to the staging area. So do git add mycode.txt, enter. Okay, now let's go ahead and do git status again. Now look at this. We've got one change in the working directory, right? That's the mypicture.pmp. And then we have one change in the staging area. Okay. Now let's go ahead and add the other one. myPicture.bmp, and we'll do get status again. Now we have both changes, okay? Meaning the inclusion, or I should say the addition, the creation of these two files, that's a change, right? Those two changes are now in the staging area, and that's why they're green. Okay, so basically red just means, hey, we've detected a change. The change is in the working directory. And green just means, hey, that change is now in the staging area. Okay, red, working directory, green, staging area. All right, next, let's go ahead and create a commit out of these two changes, right? Which is basically the only two changes we have. All right, so I'll do that. Okay. Now if I do get status again, you'll see that it's back to being clean. All right. We have a commit, right? We have our first commit. We'll go over how to know how many commits you have. We'll go over that in a later video, but just know right now that our working tree, is what they call it here, is clean, meaning there are no pending changes. Now, if I were to delete a file, is that a change? Well, let's see. Do get status, and it is a change. Anything you do here, Git will keep track of, whether it's deleting a file, adding a file, modifying a file. So let's modify this file. We'll add hello, and we'll do get status. Okay, so see it says my code was modified and my picture was deleted. Make sense? All right, yeah, that pretty much sums up how to use get status. I know it might seem very basic, but it's always good to know exactly um, what these commands do. Sometimes we use them without really um, going over all the small details and everything like that. Also, let's just go over some quick tips and tricks to using Git. All right, so one of the tricks, or one of the things I like to do when I type in a lot of Git commands, you'll see that this stuff populates pretty quickly, right? So sometimes you just want to clear all of this text, and what you do is you would think it would be Git clear, right? Because we always put the word Git before our command, but that actually does not work. What you're going to want to do is just type clear, C-L-E-A-R, press enter, and that'll clean everything up. Okay, so that's always nice. If you're using Git for a while and you've got too much text on it, just type in clear and it'll clear everything up. All right, so tip number 2 is let's say that you don't want to type in a git command from scratch, right? You want to save yourself some time. Well, what you can do is you could press up on the arrow key and you'll see that it goes over all the different commands that you've used. See, so we've got, remember how we did git init earlier? And you could press down on the down arrow key and there you go. You've got git add my code, you got git add my picture. So they're all going to be there. All right. So if you want to save yourself some time, you go to the one that you want, and then you could always just modify it like that. Sometimes you don't remember exactly what the command looks like, so it's always good to use that to save yourself some time. All right, so yeah, this hopefully this video was helpful. That's all for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.